Hello and welcome everyone. Let me change my view so I can see you all. Welcome. Hi, Nicole. If you feel free to come on video if you're able to, even if you just want to say hi. Welcome if you're just joining. We're going to wait another minute or so and let people arrive. Hi, ZM.
Hi.
I don't know if those are your initials, but
Yeah, yes, it's Zahra.
Zaha?
Zahra.
Ah, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Hi, Kristen. Welcome. And no, you don't, there's no requirement to put your video on. Just if you're able to come say hi, you can. If you can't, that's okay too. You can listen. We try to make this too where you could like listen and walk or listen and do something. So, but sometimes this is a selfish thing, but sometimes I feel like it's nice to see people's faces, to see that they're real people
Yes.
out there.
Hello. I'm
Hi,
in the
Sarah.
train. That's
Hi.
why. Hi.
Hello. You're on a train.
Yes.
Oh, I hope you're going somewhere fun.
Yes. I'm going to Zurich and then to Austria.
You're going to Zurich in Austria. Okay,
Exactly.
great. Welcome, Catherine. Welcome, Lisa.
Hi.
Welcome, Marjorie. Hello. Hi, Carly. Hi, Amy, Vanessa. All right, so we're going to start in a minute, but let's, if you want to pop in the chat, if you're able to, where you're zooming in from. And let's see, and maybe what you want to get out of today's webinar, or maybe like what drew you here. All right. Got Marjorie zooming in from Nashville. Great. Massachusetts, Boston, North Carolina, London, Florida. Okay, so we've got a bit of everywhere. A lot of East Coasters. Okay. All right. So, Roberta, are we all set recording? All right, let's go ahead and start, and then we'll just integrate others if they join live. So welcome, everyone. I'm Erin Hutchins. I'm one of the co-founders of ACT Leadership. And usually my partner husband, Mike Hutchins, does these calls on Thursday. So you may have attended one of his informational webinars. Today, we're going to be doing a live coaching demo. We have Sarah Turner with us. She's waving on the screen, and Sarah is a current student who's almost finished with her training. And when I saw her when we were preparing for this call, I recognized her because she had been a webinar participant like you are today, and now she's here, coming back to be our demo client. And then if you all have questions for her afterwards and want to hear firsthand from a student experience, Sarah said she'd be happy to answer any questions as well. So we're going to turn to Sarah in a little bit. Also joining me today is Roberta Harding, and so she is going to be tech hosting today and supporting this call. She's also an enrollment coordinator and does many different things at ACT. So thank you for supporting us today, Roberta. Okay, I'm going to start with just a little bit about me and a little bit about ACT and Brown, and then talk a little bit about coaching, and then we'll jump into the demo probably in about 10 minutes or so. And I want to make it interactive to involve you all if possible, so you can have I want you all to have a really good sense of coaching and our approach by the end of this call. So as I mentioned, I'm Erin Hutchins. I'm one of the co-founders of ACT. The other co-founder is my husband, Michael Hutchins. We are both former consultants turned coaches. Although we still have very much of that, consulting brain. We both worked for big 5 accounting firms for a long time, and then we found coaching, and we were really on a path to uh, create a program that was focused on really helping leaders and organizations optimize their performance in a way that was very humanistic. And that was our mission. And we started that about 12, 13 years ago together. And here we are today. I'm an MCC, so I'm a master certified coach. And there's different levels within ICF, which we can talk about. And mostly today, a little bit more about me. I'm a mom of 2 girls. I run the ACT Leadership Company, and I
I
also
didn't do anything.
um, oversee all of our content and the quality of our programs, and also run the embodied program at ACT. So that's a little bit about me. ACT stands for Awareness, Choice, Transformation. And so that kind of sums up our whole mission of our company, is to help leaders, people, managers, individual contributors increase their level of awareness so they can be at greater choice. So that's the C, like expand their capacity so they can feel like they're at choice. And the T is to get to transformative results that really stick, that matter. Not just on the surface level results, but like results that actually sustain themselves. So that is the mission of our company. We work a lot with government agencies. We work with organizations. We have a partnership with the Brown School of Professional Studies to offer our open enrollment coaching certification programs. So today, this webinar is focused on LPCC, and there's a lot of acronyms, but that is Leadership and Performance Coaching Certification, and that's what we're here today to talk about. We also have team coaching programs, we have advanced level coaching programs, we have our Leader as Coach program. So we're sort of all things coaching and leadership. And Roberta can pop in the chat a little bit more about us and our website if you want to look at that another time. Okay, so I think that covers me, that covers ACT, and then our relationship with Brown. I briefly mentioned we partner with the Brown School of Professional Studies. Both Mike and I are adjunct faculty there, and we share similar values with Brown and how we develop leaders and people and coaches, and the methodologies and research and development that we use in order to do so. So all of the content has been, reviewed and has oversight with Brown. We have faculty, some of our faculty are with Brown that also deliver the program. And we have programs at Brown in person and also hybrid and also virtual. So we can talk a little bit more about that later. Okay, so let's get to coaching and the reason why we're here today. And let me just ask you first, like, what do you think, if you were to give like a bottom line summary of what you think coaching is, pop that in the chat. And no need to use AI for this or like to get it right. We're not looking for perfection, but just like, what's your understanding of coaching today? Just wait for you all to. Great. So some of the responses are coming through. Kristen, I love your response here. Collaborative relationship to assist. Hold on, I lost it. The individual identify their goals, barriers to achieve their goals, and ways to achieve them. Yes, I couldn't probably have said it better. It's well done. JL says the other side of the coin for mentoring. Yes. And I'm just kind of briefly scrolling, holding up a mirror for others to learn about themselves. Yes, so all great here. Finding clarity and moving forward, asking the right questions, listening, reflecting back. Yes, so it sounds like you all have a sense of what coaching is. And so in the way that we approach coaching, we look at it from a place of holding the person that we're working with. And this particular webinar is around professional coaching, where you actually have clients that you're coaching on a professional basis. And so when we see that client, we see them as naturally creative and resourceful, that they have the answers within them. It's just a matter of how do we help elicit those answers out for them to take ownership of their goals, of their challenges, how they want to work through things, and then ultimately ownership and accountability. And oftentimes, working in companies for many years, we really default to giving advice and problem solving and fixing. And I think as leaders, we're very well intentioned, but it's easier, and it's still, we're sort of trained in this pattern. It's easier, it's quicker, it's faster just to give the answer and to solve something and fix it. Yeah. It's like, um, and there is a cost to that. As we know, there's a cost to, giving quick fixes and always taking ownership yourself of the problem. It means that the other person doesn't always have the opportunity to develop those deeper critical thinking skills, for them to do their own thinking and processing, for them to take ownership of issues and challenges and their goals. And so, in the coaching world, we're really there to learn how to, first of all, be present with another human being and show up for them, ask questions, listen in a way where we don't have an agenda. We're not driving towards anything. And that, I think when people take the program, that's one of the hardest things to unlearn, is that tendency to want to drive, to have an agenda, to fix, to offer advice, to solve. And so in coaching, it's, in some ways, it's an art, because you're learning to be present with someone and you don't really know what to ask until the last thing that they just said. And that's why AI doesn't always work. It's like AI might be good for some surface level things and also in between coaching sessions. But the real magic of coaching is being present with another human being and really, really showing up for them and being, being a partner to them to help them, to ultimately help them take ownership and accountability of their own choices. So, as all of you said, a lot of times what gets in the way of people, seeking peak performance or seeking or going after their goals is a lot of limiting beliefs, or we call inner critics, or reactive tendencies. So, in this program, it is developed a lot around developmental psychology and looking at those patterns of beliefs that have formed over many, many years that have helped people get to where they are today, but may not be working anymore. So as coaches, we're really examining how people are relating to their issues, their challenges, their goals, their whatever it is that is happening. We're looking at the relationship to it, not the actual issue itself. And so I'm going to demo that today. And here's my invitation for you, is to notice, and we'll pause the coaching demo at certain points, but just notice when your brain, because it's a default way, your brain's going to want to go into, oh, I want to find out more about that, or I need to ask this question, I need to information gather. Just notice, we call this level 1 in the coaching program. Notice if you're wanting to collect more information to solve or to fix. And it's not a bad thing if you're doing that. It's a necessary step. It's a necessary step that you have to go through in order to train as a coach. Okay, so at this point, I just want you to notice, and then also pay attention to, what am I doing as a coach? How am I being with Sarah? What kind of questions am I asking her? And then we're going to debrief this together. So before we start, are there any questions or comments before we jump into the live demo? And if you do, you can take yourself off of mute or just pop them in the chat. Okay, so let's dive into the demo, and then we'll talk about it afterwards, and we'll see what questions or if anything appears for you. Okay, so Roberta, if you could spotlight Sarah and I, that would be great. And for the rest of you, just make sure you're on mute. Sarah, again, welcome.
Thank you.
Do you want to just spend maybe a minute or so just introducing yourself, so before we start in the demo?
Yeah. So as Erin mentioned, I'm a current student and I'm cohort C63. This doesn't mean anything to you now, but I feel very attached to my group of colleagues. And I come out of a background in higher ed, art and design leadership. So I was the dean of a graduate school, the president of a school in Boston, and I love the work of leadership. I love it, but and I think it's hard. really hard. And so I wanted to put myself in a position to be able to support the people who are taking the risk to do really hard work and um, be their champion, be their teammate, be their thinking partner, be their coach. So that's what I've been training to do. And it also represents a career shift for me, which comes in all the time. And we'll come into this topic for coaching today, I'm sure.
Thanks, Sarah. Okay, so how this is going to work, I'm going to ask Sarah what she would like coaching on today, because that's how like the first question you usually ask with your clients. And then I've also designed with Sarah before this call that I might pause the coaching at certain points to talk to you all, the observers, just for you to notice what might be happening, where your mind might be going. So we might pause the coaching at certain points, and then we'll continue. Okay, so Sarah, what would you like? And just so everybody knows, this is not a role play, this is a real play. This
Yep.
is a real topic Sarah's bringing, and we have not, like, she'd let me know what her topic is, but we have not gone into any coaching. We have not, none of this is pre-planned. All of this is live and real and in the moment.
Yeah.
Okay. So Sarah, what would you like coaching on today?
Well, I always have a little bit of a hard time kind of crystallizing my topic. So maybe you'll even help me do that. But in this move from a professional life that was oriented around a gigantic job that was really singular, to this life that I have now where I teach and I do consulting and I do a lot of volunteerism, and then I have my own creative practice and my own family responsibilities. I'm finding myself just regularly sort of disoriented about like what needs my priority, what is my priority within that mix. I feel like in my last life, my job was always my priority, and now I have the opportunity to do the balance differently, and it's hard. So I feel like I'm losing my compass around what's the most important for me thing to be spending my time on and helping me work towards my goals and give me return.
Mm-hmm. Thanks, Sarah. What's important for you about this topic?
I think I find a fractured attention and energy span like destabilizing for me. So I find myself like responding to this volunteer commitment that I made and then responding to what my partner needs. And then, oh, yes, right, I'm supposed to be building my consultancy. And so I find my attention span fractured a lot and it feels chaotic.
Mm-hmm. And when your attention span is fractured, what
Mm-hmm,
does that, so you mentioned chaotic.
mm-hmm.
What, describe what that means to you.
I mean, sometimes it means like that my mind won't shut down, so I'm always trying to make sure I'm not forgetting something. So I'm always scanning mentally, like all the various balls that I have in the air. So that's kind of one impact it's having on me. I feel like it's having the impact where I'm forgetting to like build fun into my life. Like I'm just chasing all the different responsibilities and commitments that I've made that I'm forgetting like, oh, right, but you want to work in your garden and that's why you built your life this way. And you want to go swimming at the lake in summertime. And so I feel like I'm actually like working all the time in a way, as opposed to finding a balance, which was part of the intention of leaving the big giant job.
Yeah. Okay, thank you, Sarah. So I'm going to pause for a moment and just talk to the audience and just notice where your mind is going. Just take a moment and reflect like, what would I ask her next? Or where would I go with this? No right or wrong. Just notice like where you would go. Okay. So Sarah, you've mentioned balance a few times now.
Yeah.
What in in your mind, how are you defining balance in your life?
Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, I think maybe part of my challenge is I don't think I have defined it. And so it's kind of like I feel like I'm just going to know it when I have it, but I haven't named what that is. So that is occurring to me right now as I'm talking to you. Um, I think, will you ask me that question again, Erin?
Yeah, so let's define it. Like if there's
Yeah.
some curiosity there, let's define what balance means to you.
Yeah, I think it would be like a a composition in my life that leaves room for the things that I want to do,
Mhm.
but then also leaves room for what I don't know about yet. Like, leaves room for the things that are unscripted, unplanned, unproductive. I have a hyper attention on productivity, I think.
Mhm. What do you, what's important to you about this unplanned time?
Well, I mean, I'm a real believer that like creative thinking, creative life comes out of a healthy amount of boredom. Like I think boredom's good.
Mhm.
And I think it's the boredom, it's the idleness that will give me an idea. I think I shared that I'm also a creative artist, and so it'll give me an idea to do something. I think it's where you get to dream a little bit when you have unstructured time, or when I do. But it's also when I get to enjoy the things that I've worked hard to build. It's like when I get to lay on the sunny couch with the houseplants and read the novel. You know what I mean? And we've worked so hard to get to the point where we have a sunny couch with houseplants, that kind of thing.
Yes. And so I'm almost hearing that you're redefining what it means to be productive.
I'd like to, yes, that's true. And also, I'm trying to remind myself that we are not put on this earth to only be productive.
Mhm.
And that's hard for me,
Mhm.
um,
Mhm.
to live that, remember that, experience that.
Yeah. Okay. So just pausing here for a second, Sarah, just so I can talk to
Yeah.
everyone. So we're starting to uncover how Sarah is relating to her topic, to her issue, or something where she wants help. So it's almost like if she has glasses on, or let's say she has a different shade of glasses on, it's how she's viewing it. And in coaching, that's where we really focus on, is on her relationship too. Not trying to fix the topic of saying, have you tried? Have you done this? Let's go to priority one, two, and three to help her prioritize. It's how she is viewing it. So the risk is if she continues to view it the same way, she might get the same result. If we help her expand her capacity in how she is viewing this so she can be at choice, she can choose how she's relating to her topic. So let's go to the choice part now so you all can kind of get a sense of what that actually means in coaching. So um, I'm going to come back to you now, Sarah.
Yeah.
And I just like now, because I went somewhere else, I need to come back to you now to be present. Um, well, first of all, I want to acknowledge like this intention that you are creating to be more purposeful about your time and what productivity means to you and what life means to you and what it looks like. It sounds like you've really spent time creating and thinking about how you would like it to look. And I'm hearing like the importance of this topic is, you really want to honor that.
Yeah, those things are true. I mean, I would like to say that I've built this with intention. Yes, that's partly true. Some of this life just happens, you know what I mean? And then the intention is more, I think, for me about like recognizing the landscape that I live in, whether that's, a senior parent who now lives closer to me than she used to, and things like that. So some of it's out of my control, which is fine. Um, I just wouldn't want to give the impression that I've like carefully orchestrated all of this
Yes.
myself.
Well, it's what's real. It's real life,
Yeah,
right? Things
exactly.
come up and things happen, but
Yeah.
I'm hearing this like intention that like you're wanting like unplanned time or having time to be bored and having time for nothing is not it's not wasteful time.
No, it's not. And yet there's so many things that demand my attention. It is so easy for that unstructured or unplanned time to just get nibbled up by all of the commitments that I make.
Yeah. So share with me around like how would you like to be, how would you like to relate to this, to your time, your energy? How would you like to approach it?
I mean, I just would like to kind of take a lighter touch with my own set of activities sometimes. Like, okay, so the volunteer project that you committed to happens on a different timeline, or you prepare that one sheet for the board meeting at 75% instead of at like 125%, or, so in some ways I'd like to find a lighter touch where the stakes are a little bit lower on stuff.
Yeah. So, and and the light touch would give you what?
I mean, I feel like it would give me a little less anxiety, maybe. It would like maybe bring the pressure valve that I feel down a little bit.
Mhm.
Um, I would like to imagine it would give me, like, I'm about to go really type A here and be like, I'm going to schedule my unproductive time. Like, I'm going to make sure I have an hour on my calendar every day for unproductive time. And that's, I think, not what we're aiming for, but that's
Yeah.
where my mind goes.
Yeah. So let's take a moment and notice that for a moment. Like it's great that you have that awareness that your mind is going there.
Yeah.
It's like, and what does um light touch feel like? Like if you were to kind of just right now, like in this moment, turn up the volume on that. Like
Yeah.
what's the felt sense around it?
Oh, just like things become like you can see, like my body's shifted, like my shoulders come down. Like then some of the things that I spend my time on become more fun. And I get like one of the reasons I do so much volunteering is because I love people.
Hmm.
But like sometimes the earnestness that I bring to like following through on my volunteer task eclipses the time I have to like actually enjoy the people I'm volunteering with.
Yeah.
So a lighter touch would be like tuning back into the rewards of the things that I do instead of the um, obligations that I have to them.
Hmm. Hmm. What's it like to say that?
I mean, it sounds good to me, like because I know that there are rewards to why I've chosen to spend my time in certain ways. And um, if I could help myself be more mindful to pay attention to the things that are the rewards of how I'm spending my time, I feel like that will kind of create the lighter touch I'm looking for in a way.
Hmm. Hmm. I can see like something's churning inside. And I think this is a good note for everybody who's observing. Sometimes in coaching sessions, like it doesn't always get resolved right away. But the idea is to have the person start thinking about, do their own thinking about it so they can be more at choice on how they're relating to it. So now, Sarah, that you are sort of more aware about your relationship to how you're approaching your day, these tasks, what you're committing to,
Yeah.
it sounds like um, for you maybe to try, like it sounds like maybe trying out this new way of seeing it from a like what from the perspective of, well, what's the reward here?
Yeah. And I don't, and when I say reward, I don't mean like a cost benefit
Right.
analysis or whatever.
No, no.
Like I just, for example, I have what could be a fairly fraught board meeting coming up. And yet the reason I volunteer for this board is because the people are so wild and dynamic and goofy and crazy in a good way. They're all a bunch of artists trying to make something work. And if I can remind myself that, like, I love that about them,
Yes.
it takes a fraught board meeting into actually a moment to engage with people I care about that are interesting to me.
Yeah.
Um, so even though I know you said a minute ago, like, we don't always solve in coaching, for me, just getting like one kernel to kind of hang on to as a perspective shift just for this week
Yes.
is reward, because that'll open up some other kernel at some point.
It sounds like your reward is the way you're defining it is like what you love about something and like your
Yeah.
why.
Yeah.
And it sounds like coming from your place of why or what you love about it really brings you back to what matters to you most.
Totally. And why that time spent is worth it to me if I can tune into that as opposed to feeling like a drain.
Yeah. Yes. So that's part of your, like, if we were coaching again, when
Yeah.
I come back in the next session, I would ask you, like, what's it like? Like, how did you experiment with that?
Yeah.
Were the results different? Like, what shifted? What changed, if anything? And so for everyone here listening, like, that's what we want to get curious about. It's not like we are demanding to say, you must go do this. The client has to take ownership of it, right? It has to be something that they own, where you're working with a perspective shift and not just an action. And that's what you learn how to do in the program. So Sarah, I want to thank you for being so real with us and vulnerable and sharing all this. And you've even inspired me, like when you go back, when you light up and talk about your why and why you do things, like you can really see, it really comes through.
Yeah.
It really comes through about, your care for others.
Yeah.
And so thank you for taking the time
Yeah.
to share your time with us today. And looks like you're getting some
Yeah. I appreciate it.
feedback in the chat there.
Thank you.
All right. So we are going to debrief this now. And I'm just checking the chat really quick. Okay. That was 15 minutes. Typical coaching sessions, I'd say people do between 30 minutes and an hour each session. That was 15 minutes. So that gives you a small sense of what coaching sounds like or can feel like. I would love to hear, actually, let's start with you, Sarah.
Okay.
Let's start with your feedback or what that experience was like for you as a client. And then I'm going to ask all of you to start naming what you saw in that coaching session. So Sarah, do you want to give feedback or anything, what it was like to be client?
Yeah, I mean, I was really glad to volunteer because I think as someone who's practicing to be a coach, I love getting coached. And so I think I was holding on to two things. I was experiencing it as a client and I was experiencing it as a coach in training.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I mean, I love that we got to a perspective shift that I really do think I can hold on to that perspective shift, even just for a few meetings, that I have that would help. I do feel like it lights me up. It does make me energized. It makes me want to re-engage with those things. Um, the thing that as a coaching student, Erin, I notice is like you didn't actually say very much. Like you come in, you say something, you go back out, and that's just for folks on the call, that's something that I think takes practice and that I'm practicing.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you,
Mm-hmm.
Sarah.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, so let's now for the participants that are on this call, what did you, and feel free to take yourself off of mute or pop in the chat, maybe what are you taking away from this? Or what did you see that you want to highlight or any questions that you have about this? And I'll start and I'll let you all kind of build on or add from there. The biggest thing I want you all to take away from this is that in coaching, we're coaching the relationship, how the client relates to their topic or their issue or what they want to talk about, not it itself. And the hardest thing is not saying, have you tried this, or let's prioritize, or just help solve it for them. So a lot of, even in module 1, when you go through the program, you're having to unlearn those tendencies. And we're really curious about how, so let me ask you a question. Like if she stays, a lot of leaders or people who stay in their perspective that isn't serving them, where they're in a place of stuck or frustration or just depletion, it's hard to create from that place. Yeah. It's possible, but it doesn't always achieve the best results. So the purpose of coaching is to really help your client expand their capacity to be at choice around how they're relating to something. So then they can own and take responsibility for their mindsets, their perspectives, their actions, and then take responsibility for the results that they're creating. And so if we just focus on the results or the actions, then we will just get to surface level change. But in coaching, why coaching is so effective is we're really working with mindsets, beliefs. We're working with what's going on underneath for the person. And this is why AI can't necessarily do this. You know, AI is great for like in between coaching sessions to help the client deepen their journey, to deepen their understanding of this. But the magic in coaching is being with somebody and being present and creating in the moment, really listening and tuning in to create in the moment. You know, so that's wanting to highlight that. So I'm going to turn you all here to turn my attention to the chat and just see what your comments are right now. So Erin asked questions rather than giving solutions. We kept the focus on the topic well. She didn't let Sarah wander off. Yes. I noticed that the pace of the conversation was calm, slow, and thoughtful, not rushed. I saw the power of asking, what does that feel like to you? Having the client make meaning rather than assuming or projecting meaning. Yes. Yes. Well, that's a really good point. You pick up on the light touch and ask, what does the light touch look like? And what would the light touch give you? Used her words. Yep. Using the client's words is important. I think it was great you picked up on what is important to Sarah very early on. Sarah's growth positives were acknowledged multiple times, which is a powerful reinforcement to continue. Good. So you guys, you all saw a lot of great comments there. You saw a lot. Any questions or comments at this point? Yes, Kristen, just feel free to take yourself off of mute if you're able to.
Thanks. I do have a question.
Yes.
There was one point, and Sarah, if I kind of misrepresent this, please correct me. I thought that there was maybe an identification of a belief about or being difficult to allow the less productive time in. And my mind went to kind of wanting to explore that or a follow-on question about that particular belief. And I'm curious if that's in line with coaching or if this is just too much of the psychologist in me.
Are you a psychologist, Kristen?
I am.
I think that you're spot on. You could have certainly taken it down that path.
Okay.
And that's the you know, that's the place we want to help the client be aware of, to say, oh, I'm hearing that this belief is present for you right now, or that I'm hearing this. Let's check in there. So you could certainly have taken the coaching, gone down that path with the coaching. Yeah. And that's also too the beauty of coaching, is that you never know where it's going to go because you can't control the outcome. And so,
Erin.
Vanessa, did you want to say something about that?
Yeah, I have a question on that, if it's okay. Like,
Yeah.
so I'm expecting that the course will help with like providing this framework, like because again, the topic can be like anything, right? Like or there is a variety here, right? Is that like frameworks and techniques that you're using? Like, how do you stay on the topic? How you make sure that you are helping her to realize something, or am I again trying like to just find a solution, right? And have
No,
like
that's what you learn in the program. You're learning tools, approaches, techniques to coach, to professionally coach,
okay.
to stay on the topic, to help presence things, to learn how to, I mean, you're learning from day one, you're learning how to coach.
Okay. And I noticed also that you are not taking notes or anything. So is that also like ways for you to not get lost in the coaching?
You know how we teach that, some coaches take notes. I think that notes are distracting because it's like you're keeping track of information that the client is giving you, and it's more important to stay present because
Mhm.
the coaching is about the other person finding their own answers, seeking their own solutions. And the ownership lies with the other person, not with you. So in coaching, we teach you, you don't have to remember every single detail that they said. You can ask them. It's more about you want the light bulb to go off in your client's mind, not in yours. And so that's also very hard for people when they come into the program because they want to know it all. They want to know and keep track of everything, but in coaching, it's not possible. And nor do you need all the information either to coach.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You and Sarah. That was great, like to watch.
Oh, yes. She's a lovely client. Yes,
Yeah.
Grace.
Um, my question is around the clients. I realize that I can be as good a coach as good as clients. Sarah is prepared and she's very close to with this topic. She has her own reflections and she's articulate. Um, Sometimes I'm not as lucky about the clients, even if I explain what coaching is not. So, um, I wonder how would you lead the clients that doesn't really have what they want to talk about, or they're still in the performance mode. Like they've been showing up as I have to look good to all their lives and
Yeah.
still carrying that to the coaching sessions.
Yeah. Um, it sounds like you're doing some coaching already. And um, yes, I mean, Sarah was a great, she came prepared with the topic. It doesn't always happen that way, right? And so in the program, we teach you how to meet people where they are, exactly where they are. And a lot of times people who are new or clients that are new to coaching, they might, especially if you're in an organization that's um, really focused on results, they might expect to receive advice from you. Or they might say, hey, I've had clients before and say, hey, could you help me brainstorm and strategize for this session that I have? It's like, that's just what they're used to. It's nothing wrong that they're doing or saying, but your job is to educate them on what coaching is. And so in the program, we teach you that, like, how do you educate your clients so they know what coaching is and what it's not. And, um, if you have a client, for example, who's expecting you to solve or fix something for them, you might say, well, I'm noticing that you're wanting me to give you the answer here. I'm really wanting to put this back on you now for you to do your thinking and processing around this. So there's ways and there's different things that play out in the program that help you feel more confident in working with all different types of clients and all different types of leaders in whatever capacity. Hope that was helpful. And often, like, my clients are coming from meetings and they come in the first 2 minutes and they're like, blah, 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 just this happened at the meeting. Blah, blah, blah. It's like, whoa, and we have a skill called clearing. We let them clear for a couple minutes so then we can transition to the coaching session. Okay, what would you like help with today? I don't know. I'm in a state, you know? Okay, well, let's unpack that for a moment. Like, so nothing ever looks perfect. We're working with humans, and so, but we prepare you to meet people where they are, exactly where they are, and to create from that place. What else is here? Any other questions or comments right now? I was going to also hand it over to Roberta to share a little bit more about the program too. But I would just want to give time for your questions, and also Sarah's here too if you have any questions for her about the program, her experience. ZM, you have your hand raised. Or I'm calling you
That's
Zia.
fine.
Zara.
That's fine. No, Z's fine as well.
Z.
I guess one of my questions is there was parts of that where, as you said, you could go on to talking about maybe some areas of maybe what productivity meant to Sarah. And there's a belief system that comes with that, for example, how she views productivity and where that stems from. So where's the crossover if you're not a psychotherapist or of any sort with coaching? Because if your background's not from that, are you supposed to be touching upon those topics? If you're not, are you doing it to, again, as you said, you ask questions, but are you guiding him something that you're not fully trained to do? How does that work with coaching?
Yeah, in coaching, we focus on the present moment and future orientation. We don't go into the past to understand where the beliefs came from or why. We focus on the person is seeing it a certain way, and we want to bring awareness to how they're seeing it or experiencing it and help them build a capacity to be more at choice with how they're viewing something. And so you don't need any experience in this realm. Anybody can come into this program and train as a coach. I mean, we have criteria around, being, to apply for the program, but you don't need any, psychotherapy training, for example. And I think that's one of the biggest surprises to people because people come into the program think like, oh, I can only coach leadership topics or I can only coach stay on this. But after coaching leaders for 15 years, most of the topics become personal quickly because it becomes lonely at the top. And they might come to a session with like, something just happened at home, like, and actually you can be with that. It doesn't have to feel like it's therapy. You can just be with another human being. You have the capacity to be with somebody and witness them and whatever is happening for them. Don't need to fix it. Don't need to give them advice or guide them, but you learn how to be with all types of things. And when that is a very powerful thing, when you learn you don't have to fix it or solve it or give advice or like make it right, but you can be there. And so the program expands your capacity hugely, I think, to be with. I don't know, Sarah, if you want to say anything there or from your experience of maybe topics that you've received from your clients or where you've maybe learned to grow.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I'm so much in the thick of practicing and trying to be a good coach that I'm learning on this session too. But I just think the value of really listening hard to someone and walking alongside them as they learn things about themselves or learn things about their patterns or share things that are their ideas. And I mean, whatever comes up in the topic, walking alongside them, I think the value of that cannot be underestimated. I was also someone who had a fabulous coach when I was in a leadership position. So I was just so grateful to have like my person in my corner that wasn't my board, wasn't my staff, all that stuff. So I love being that for people. And this idea that people are whole, and in my understanding of that is like me not solving their problem for them is an act of respect to them because it is saying to them, you have the capacity to solve this if it needs to be solved yourself. You have the capacity to grow through this or whatever that and I see that as such an act of respect to them.
Very helpful. Thank you. That was helpful.
What else? Any other, Kristen, did you have another question?
Yes, please. I wanted to ask just again, kind of like another example. After Sarah described what light touch kind of looked like or would feel like for her, my mind went to the question of, have there been times in the past that you have experienced that light touch? That's obviously a past question. We're just, we're talking about how coaching is
Yep.
current and future based. So I'm curious about that type of question that, well, two things. One, is that too far into the past? And two, is that too much of me driving an agenda?
Both is yes. Because there's something that you're wanting to know with that question, right? Like it's a leading question somewhat, and so
Yeah.
what is it that you're wanting to know with that?
If she has had the experience, like if she has already experienced that before, so she herself might have a sense of what that would look like or feel like for her, like for her to make that connection from her past experiences to her experience now and going forward. So yeah, there's certainly an agenda there.
Yes. And so that would be something that you would just be aware of and then try to there's another skill called self-management. Like, how would you manage that to get back to sort of what's happening right now in the moment for her? And so you would maybe ask a question about like, where are you now with your understanding of this? Or what does light touch bring you now? And what might it look like for you in the future? And
Okay.
how might you practice this without going into the past?
Thanks.
Yeah. So, Roberta, I'm just going to have you. Why don't you share, if you could share a little bit about the programs coming up? This program isn't super informational. We have those every Thursday, but Roberta can just share like upcoming dates if you all want to know. We are enrolling for fall at the moment, and we'll show you if you want to apply to the program. We'll show you that process, and then we'll take some. This will be really quick, and then we'll take some more questions if you have any questions.
So much, Erin. So I popped the link in the chat in case you'd like to just watch as well on your own screen, or you can follow me here. So I'm scrolling down so this is our page for our leadership and performance program. We've got our button here to apply now, book a webinar. You guys have already done that. But again, as Erin mentioned, we do have a Q&A version. So if you'd like to come to that one, which has a little bit more information about the program logistics, you definitely join the webinar for that. I'm going to scroll down. We've got like a quick snapshot here of all of our programs. Our fall one is waitlist only. So our fall one is a hybrid program that will be in Providence, Rhode Island. So the first module and the third module, we actually will meet in person. The second module is virtual. I would say just be really mindful of the dates when it comes to all of these programs. These are the module dates are where where the bulk of the learning happens for yourselves. And you need to be present for all of those dates. The days run about 8.5 hours. It's from 8:30 to 4:30 each day for all of these programs. And so again, that's just where you want to be mindful regarding, your personal commitments. And so something else I just kind of want to note here is virtual, in person, and then some of our other modes that we offer the program in. So our virtual programs are completely virtual. So all the dates would be listed are virtual here. Most of our programs do run on Eastern Standard Time. We do have one fall program that will be on Pacific Standard Time. So same time of the day, 8:30 to 4:30, but would run on West Coast time. We are offering an in-person program for in DC. So if you're interested or if you're locally in the DC area, that's one to consider if you're available for these dates. And then, yes, some additional information here about our course content. You can also find the dates here as well. I also just want to point out midweek versus weekend. So our midweek is Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. The weekend would be Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And again, that's just, based on personal preference or your work-life balance. To apply for the program, I'm just going to quickly run through this here. Got myself. You can choose your delivery style, your dates. I'm just going to select some dates here, start the application. It's going to verify your browser. All right, the application here will collect some background information from you so that way we know how we can get in contact with you, who you are. And scrolling down a little bit, let us know how you heard about us. We'd appreciate that information. If you're an ICF member, let us know. Just a little bit about your work history here, just your current employer. And then we've got some additional questions here about like which pathway, level 1 or level 2, which cohort you're interested in. So that's the dates that we looked at earlier. This video here is a quick one to take a look at. I'll also pop it in the chat. It just kind of gives a good definition about what leadership coaching is from ACT's perspective, which is also in line with the ICF requirements. A couple questions for you guys to answer, so we know a little bit more about you, and understanding and recognize that you have an understanding of what's the difference between therapy, mentoring, and coaching. While you're pursuing coaching, whether you're similar to Sarah, who was transitioning into a new career path, some changes, or if you're maybe coaching within your organization or you'd like to coach within your organization. All of those things. We just welcome just a little bit more perspective and understanding about yourselves. A few more questions down here. Let us know if you have an accommodation that you need for the program. We do understand over the course of the 3 days that might pop up for some people. And then submit your resume. We've got some information about our payment schedule and the tuition here. And then, submit your application for us. I'm also going to pop our email address in the chat in case you maybe want to have some additional questions, very particular about your own circumstances or programs, what's beneficial for yourselves for this time of year or your life. We will also have our dates for 2027 posted shortly as well. So please email us if you've got any additional questions.
Thanks, Roberta. Anything else? Any other final questions or comments? Feel free to take yourself off of mute too. Yes, Nicole.
I have a question for Sarah. Just sort of what's been the most unexpected, pleasant surprise aspect of the training that you're doing?
I really have connected with my cohort, and I did the hybrid program, so we met in person twice in Providence, and we've done a lot of stuff online. And they're people from all industries, all over the country, some international, and I feel like it's really been a cohort. So that's been incredibly gratifying, feeling like as I kind of now am about to graduate and will leave the program, I've got some people that are coming along with me that I can stay in touch with. So that's been great. And then also they kind of throw you in the deep end. Like day number 2, you're coaching a client before you even know what you're doing. And I was terrified by that. But it also there's no way to learn this from a textbook or abstractly. You just have to do it. And so kind of getting pushed to just do it worked for me. And I've appreciated that.
Good. Well, I'm just checking, allowing some space for anything else. Anyone? You can reach out to us if you'd like a one-on-one call with a program advisor, if you ever want to chat with somebody just so they can understand more of your background or what you're wanting to achieve. We'd always recommend that. And thank you all. I really love this group. This is kind of what the online cohort is like.
Yeah.
We do demos, we're with each other, we're debriefing. You all then go into coaching sessions together. So it's a lot like this, actually. The formats. And so typically if we teach something, we do a real play of a demo with a student, they have a topic, we coach, we debrief, you go into breakout rooms, you practice on each other, and then you get feedback from each other, from the instructors. And so that's the whole sort of rhythm of the program. And the idea is to train you so you come out feeling confident to do this in real life. And to learn when you don't know what to say or what to do, that you feel like you have the capacity to be with and source sort of like, how do I coach? How do I coach anybody or anything? So that is the goal. So thank you for your time today. We hope we cross paths with you. We hope the demo was useful, and a special thanks to Sarah for coming on and being with us all today.
Thank you so much.
Take care, everyone.